Today, we're going to take a look at what are the biggest issues for the week that you're going to look for. And we're going to do them in lowest to highest importance. The fourth most important thing you're going to look at this week are earnings. Earnings in Cisco, earnings in Deere & Company. Those will be significant. Legacy semiconductors in Cisco, how the U.S. consumer and how agriculture and sales of large equipment, durable goods, that's Deere & Company. But that's not the most important thing. That'll be important for those stocks, but not the overall market. Third most important thing, Fed speakers. The Fed speakers are important because you're going to start to see the shift in tone come out of the Fed meeting, coming out of the data that we got post-Fed meeting, right? They're now starting to worry more about the labor market than they are about inflation. Like Michelle Bowman talked about this past week, moving to 3 cuts expected this year. Now, she's always been the leader. She's been a bit of a trailblazer there. But talking about 3 sets up for 2, quite obviously, and you're starting to see Fed speakers pivot. Jerome Powell's going to speak on August 23rd in Jackson Hole. Is that the pivot they make towards lower rates, or does he continue to wait? So the Fed speakers this week setting the tone for interest rates, I think that is the third most important thing. Now, the second most, President Trump and Vladimir Putin speaking in Alaska about a Ukraine unconditional ceasefire. That's the good news. The bad news is that Vladimir Putin's going to want significant territorial concessions from Ukraine. They have said that's basically a non-starter, but both leaders of these countries have to save face, and President Trump has to negotiate that deal. So we're going to see what kind of negotiator that is, and that has a big effect on crude oil prices. Remember India and the tariffs. And finally, the most important thing, CPI data for this week. PPI data will be important too, but not as much as CPI data, because the expectations are for both year over year in headline and year over year in core to tick up 1/10 from last month. So stubborn inflation will have to be explained away by the Fed. So inflation will be the number one thing this week, and then it's the others in a row.